Turner Sky show coming up here. A lot of different ways you can do it. I'm gonna show you guys with using a bright brush, a little bit of a business card. The first thing I'm gonna do is actually establish where the sunrise is. So to do that, I'll take a bright brush like this, lightly put it down, and I'm gonna scumble it. I'll have it come up, so doing sideways. And then I'll fade out to the sides. Side of the brush, barely picking it up. Move it down here a little bit. You can use a business card like this and kind of drag it across a little bit. Creates kind of a scratchy, hazy, glowy look to it. Got my little glow going on now. Go back into a little bit more of the white in there. Maybe this is about it. Then I'll like spread this out a little more on the bottom. Let it come all the way out to here. We really should let that dry before I add colors to it, but that's okay. Hopefully it's not gonna be too bad for me. And tapping it, whoa, it froze. All right, when it comes back, I'm recording it, so the recording is not frozen. So hopefully when this thing comes back on, you'll be able to see it here pretty quick. Oh, come on. All right, so Sophie saw how like I did the card kind of thing, getting some of the colors in there. And hold on one second. I'll reshare so you guys can see it better. Once again, this is a sky show, how to lighten skies, Turner style. Getting kind of hazy all over here in this area. Using a bright brush, tapping it on there, and then I'll use a sponge too in a second. So now I got a little bit of a sponge, supposedly a clean sponge, and haze this out a little bit, get some of that little haze. Oh my God, my sponge is green. A little bit of green in there, that's okay. All right, so now I've kind of like overall where the light's gonna be coming from. I'll fade it out a little bit more as it comes up. Fade it out, I'll do like a little sun pillar kind of thing. Take a sponge right behind it, haze that out. So it's like a little sun pillar. Sun magic goes right up there. And after I have that, I let it dry a little bit. I'll pretend it's dry currently. And to add the other colors in there, I'm gonna add a little bit of purple, a little violet action, purple and burnt sienna, cooler color. And with this, here's how you do this. Watch this. Dumb hand is right here, smart hand is right here. I'll put the paint on, then right behind it, I'll scumble it to get the color to blend. Then I'll go back a little bit here. I'll show you that again. So I'm gonna do the sponge right behind it, blur it out a little bit. So now it's a little bit more on the purple side. Mornings are more cooler, evenings are a little warmer. Blur that out here so I got a little more purple on the sides. You can kind of see them in there.
So Mr. Stevens.
Yeah.
You like purple for mornings and magenta for evenings?
Yeah, more like browns and burnt sienna for evenings. So right now, all I'm doing is adding the color to it. So if you look at this, tap the bright brush in there, or you can use a round brush. Dumb hand puts a paint on. Right behind it, I'm gonna follow it like this. Paint and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Your sponge has to be kind of light. And I'll go a little more color here. So the blue goes into the purple really nicely. I've got a little bit of a haze. After do the haze, I'll go into little brighter colors. All right, so now we got a nice little hazy kind of purple. Once again, it's purple, magenta, and white. Just a glaze. So then over here, where it goes almost pure white, I'll go ahead and get some of that color over here as well. Light, hazy glaze. And when you do this, you don't have a lot of time to blend, otherwise it'll lift on you, which is kind of a pain. All right, so this is gonna be my lighter area right here, but now I'm gonna go back in I'll get some more colors in there, using references, so there's some burnt sienna, but not too much. And orange is gonna be more sunsetty. I'll use more like a purple kind of a thing. With this, I'll come in and kind of scumble it, make it kind of light like this, blur it out a little bit using a corner of the sponge. But don't blur it out too much though. Leave a lot of it on there. So now it's coming in there just like that. A little haze, I'll show you that again. So once again, here it goes in slow motion. Tap, so see, rotating the brush a little bit, scumble it, and go back in and haze it out using a corner of the sponge. Like I said, leave some of it kind of hard edge though. All right, so now even go a little more pure burnt sienna over here. So now I'm gonna start curving it like this, like little light rays are kind of bending it. Dumb hand puts paint on, smart hand blends. Hopefully your smart hand's pretty smart. Start to get that nice curve to it. Over here, same thing. Curve that out, use the corner of the sponge. Just bend that up a little bit. I got purple, I got burnt sienna, I got brown, action. Off to the sides, I'll even add a little more purple. So it's browner here, then more purple on the outside. Purple though, not orange. A little bit cooler of a color. Over here, I'll do the same thing on this side. Purple, a little hazy. On the bottom, I could go kind of a darker purple. And I'll crunch that up. So I went from blue to almost white on the bottom part. Now, it looks easy, but it's a little bit challenging. When you have like the dumb hand coming in like this, you gotta like go right behind it. You don't have time to set the sponge down. You gotta go right behind it, get that in there. I'll fade it up a little bit more, so even back here on the sides, I could go over like a heavier glaze and let that purple go into the blue. And purple and blue like each other. They're like good friends actually. They like to hang out. All right, here's the dumb hand. Smart hand right behind it. All right, here it goes again. You ready? Here we go. Smart hand, blend, and lift up. Nice curve going on there. It looks pretty good. Over here, I'll do the same thing. On the sides here, I'll get a little bit darker. More purple, a little darker. Not a lot, just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'll move that over. There we go. So now I'm gonna come over here with this purple, scumble. But yeah, once you get that technique down of paint and follow it with the sponge, and I'm going forward, but I'm wiggling it side to side, which is kind of the key to make it look good. All right, so now I have my basic sunrise colors that I want. At the top, it's gonna be almost blue. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start getting the sun back in here. So the sun, I'll go white with maybe a little bit of yellow, but not too much. So I'll rinse out my brush. I'll do some yellow, but keep it kind of light though. All right, so using the corner of a bright brush right here. This is gonna be where the sun is, right there, little dot. I'll come in here, lightly tap it, fade it out a little bit, and get the business card again. Scrub that in. Now take the corner of a sponge and blur that out. So it's a lot of layers. You know, it's not like one magic layer or one magic color. It's like a process of a lot of layers. And I'll fade this out so it kind of goes like a pillar. And Turner always has like sun pillars, and then he has it like drift out into the rest of the sky. I'll take my finger, a little dot of paint, boop, right there, little dot. Blur that out again. Let it fade, and then I'll make it even softer here in a second. See all the layers? We went bluish, we went purple, and we went back to white again. Softening up a little bit. I'll zoom in a little more so you can see it better. All right, so now I'm starting to get those colors in there. As it comes off to the side, I can tap a little bit more on the side over here, soften this a little bit. All right, now I'm ready for a little bit of color. A little bit of blue. A little bit of yellow, raw sienna, and white. That'll give me some color. The yellow is going to be more on the outside. Right here, so if you see the yellow and purple, they're friends too because they're complementary colors. They also like hanging out with each other. I'll leave it white in the middle, but I'm going yellow on the outsides. Yellow, the warm yellow, the cad yellow, and a little of the raw sienna as well. Raw sienna, cad yellow for the colors. Now I'm starting to have that glow of yellow around it. So now it's starting to look like morning. Key is color though, so then I'll do a little bit more yellow. Titch yellow over the purple. And using the side of the brush, I'll let some of the yellow come all the way out here. Not a lot though. Not tons. All right. And that is almost done for the base coat. Now, go back in. I'll have some darker values. These are all really hazy, so now I'll come back in. A little purple and burnt sienna. These are gonna be more hard edge. I'll have some of them like sneak right on there. So like right here, watch this. Here it goes, scumble. Round brush. Tap it in a little bit. Follow those little lines. And if you want it a little more blurry, take your finger, just barely tap it. Then on the bottom, I'll go more purple and burnt sienna. So watch down here on the bottom, I'll go like a little bit of more burnt sienna. Small skinny line, and tap it out, blur it out a little bit. Same thing here. Blur it out. Those are all the techniques though, so if you don't like these colors, you can obviously change the color, but the techniques are all the same. And down here, I'll even go really dark on the bottom. Well, not really dark, kind of dark. And having some of it swing down. So this arch that we're doing here, this little curve, burnt sienna and a little bit of purple. Use the side of the brush, kind of let some of the paint fall off a little bit. A little bit on the scratchy side.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes. And hold on one second. And that is pretty much completed. That is a Turner Sunrise.